Welcome to Lawn in Disorder, podcast from the suburbs, with your hosts Karen Morgan and Jim Colleton.
Hey everybody, welcome to Lawn in Disorder, podcast from the suburbs. I'm Karen Morgan, and today our topic is college tours. So Jim and I both have kids who are in college now, and I think between the two of us, we've probably been on 1,012 different college tours and campuses across America. I feel like we have both gotten the experience as parents on college tours to be able to share our experience and give some advice to parents who might be going through the same thing.
And I think this all came about when we would travel together doing our show, Karen. I remember we would sit in the car and talk about all the tours that we would go on. And it's very eye-opening because until you get involved in it, you have no idea. It's just like raising children. Until you do it, you really don't know what you're getting involved in. And then you're about
until you experience the horror.
Yeah, and then when you're in your fourth or fifth one, you're like, "Oh, shoot me right now." I think the hardest thing, and we both talked about this too, is getting the kids. And this is the thing that always kills me is when you turn to your child who's a sophomore or a junior in high school and say, okay, what do you want to do with the rest of your life?
Where would you like to go next? Let me help you with that. Yeah.
Most adults don't know what they want to do with the rest of their life. But I guess that's it. Then you start figuring out, starting to narrow down the search for schools.
Yeah, and I think the map, you look at the map of the United States, I know with my kids, I drew a line down the Mississippi River and said, okay, anything to the right is fair game. Anything to the left, you're not going there because it involves an airplane and a lot more money. And so we'll start with the East Coast because that's where we are.
And I guess you feel like an old man too, but this stems from my upbringing too. First of all, I was not a very good student. I probably didn't apply myself as much as I should have, but like literally my college tours probably was a day. My father drove me to 3 or 4 state schools around Massachusetts and goes, "All right, what do you think?" And it's just so different with my kids now because there's all the brochures that come in and they talk with their counselors and we get on airplanes and we fly to these places and we drive around.
It's a very different experience. Well, even the college admissions process, which we'll have several podcasts about this, but the admissions process itself is overwhelming and so different from our own. I didn't even go. I grew up in a college town. I grew up in Athens, Georgia. I went to the University of Georgia where I grew up. I didn't even do the college tour because I lived there. And
now, did you know that right away? Like, did you say, "Oh, I definitely want to go to the University of Georgia"?
Yeah, because I grew my whole life. I grew up going to football games. I had no desire to go. Literally, no desire to go anywhere else. Thankfully, back then it was easy to get in the University of Georgia. I wouldn't be able to get in now, I don't think. But I didn't even go on a tour, and I applied there, and I got in there, and that was kind of it. Yeah.
There was no accepted student day or anything like they have now. Like, hey, let's fly down again and see if we like it that much to go to accepted student day.
Accepted student day. I think I filled out my application with a ballpoint pen, and we're all set. That was kind of it. So then we gather our 3 kids, and you gather your 3 kids, and I have right now 2 in college and 1 high school senior. So we are totally immersed in the college life. And now
let me ask you this, because now I have the 3 kids, 2 girls, and my youngest is the boy. Do you find it different? Like my girls have really been into it, like what schools they want to go to, and they kind of they've been very into it. Do you find it different with the boys?
Oh, totally. That was totally different. My daughter had pie charts and graphs and Excel spreadsheets, and she had different rating systems after we would go on tours. It was a very detailed, long process. And then the boys were like, do they have a gym? Is there, what kind, do they have Chick-fil-A? That's on my list. Could we go there? Like they were very, very different. My oldest was an athlete, so we also had the team sports aspect of it, which adds another layer of college choices. But the boys hold it. At least my boys. Some other boys may be a little more involved, but my boys were like, "Yeah, you got Chick-fil-A? I'm there. Thanks."
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably about 80% of guys are probably like, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, you guys got chicks here? Let's go."
Yeah, yeah. And we traveled from Maine down south, last spring for my youngest tours, and he just saw girls with shorts on and went, "Yep, this is it. We're good."
I feel like I could go here, Mom. Now, we've often talked about the people you meet on college tours. Well, first of all, I think you have to start is when you drive. We've talked about this also. One of the hardest things is finding where the tour starts, because most of the schools, they're massive and they're these huge campuses, and you pull in, the kids stressed out because they don't want to be late. You're stressed out, you don't want to be late, and you have to try to find out where to park and then find out how to get to this student center or wherever this tour is starting.
Find the admissions office. I like how there's always, depending on what the school's mascot is, they paint little. If it's a tiger, the little follow the tiger prints to the admissions office, or follow the I don't know what other little mascots there might be. You have to follow the little trail there. I know the majority of the tours that we always went on, I was hungry, so we're always like jamming food in our mouths in the car, like eating French fries before we go in the admissions office. We're just covered in grease and fried smell going in there. But you do not, this is my first piece of advice, do not go on these tours hungry. Make sure you have eaten before you go. You will not, they will give you a mint maybe at the office, but that's all they're going to give you.
Yeah, there's never any free food, and I always get a kick. I remember my first one when I took my oldest child, and you sit in these auditoriums, and they show you a video or a film of what the school's going to do for you, and you're like, "Oh, wow, this school's you can call the president if you have a problem. These guys are going to do everything for you. Oh, there's going to be financial help if you need it." And then once you go on the second tour and you realize what a business college is, you're like, "Oh, these people aren't going to do anything for us. This is all a lie. It's all a lie, families. It's all a lie."
So you have to watch the video or the film to start, and you're in the little room. And then after the film is over, then your little tour guides come in, and usually they come in like a little parade, and they're all excited and they're all very happy. It's kind of like when you go to TGI Fridays and they sing the happy birthday song to you, and they come in, yay, and then.
And haven't you noticed that no matter what school, if you're in a school in Maine, Georgia, Indiana, it's the exact same 11 kids. Whatever school you're at, it's just a formula for kids that are going to give tours in college, and it's the same kids wherever the school is.
What were you saying about you had a tour guide last spring? You had tour guides, and they were all in the same kind of club. I can't remember what you told me.
Acapella. Every tour guide is either in the acapella group or they love the acapella group.
They love acapella.
And it was a joke with me and my oldest. We would ask if they hadn't mentioned it within the first 3 or 4 minutes of the tour. I would say, "Hey, can I ask you a question? Are you in the acapella group?" And they would blow their mind. "Yes, I am in the acapella group."
Yes, I am. I'm in the treble notes. They always have a silly little name for the acapella group. But we got to the point too, my kids as well, that we had inside jokes on every tour. You do enough of them, you kind of get in the mode of what's coming next. And so we would always have the inside jokes of, "Oh, we're going to go to the dining hall next, and they're going to show us all the vegan options. We can't wait to see what vegan options they have."
Yeah, and I think you would agree too. And I was talking to my girls when we took the tour. The tour guide though does make the tour. You know what I mean? Because if you have a kid that really likes the school and is into it, you're like, "Oh, okay," you know what I mean? And then if you just have a kid who's just doing it for the cash, they're like, "Here's the caf, here's the dorms." You're like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah, I've been here a while. I don't know. There's a lot of I don't know. I love one of my favorite things about the tour guides is when they walk backwards. They're just like, "Hey, so I'm going to walk backwards for the next 2 hours so that I can make eye contact with you, and so you're just going to be nervous. I'm going to fall down the whole time," because I'm always waiting for them to fall, and they always say, "No, we do these tours backwards all the time. I've gotten really good at it." And then one of them just falls down. It's like, thank you.
They always get very excited when they run into another tour, and I think the only friends that they have are the other tour people. So when they see him, it's just high fives, and they know their name. Hey, Denny, hey, Betty. You're like, okay, we get it. You know the other tour people.
I've heard him yell out a name like across campus, like, "Hey, Kevin!" And I don't even think that person is Kevin, or that they even know.
No,
that.
it's not. It's just so they can feel like they know people in school.
I have friends. I don't just do tours. It's okay. So one of the things that my kids and I noticed, and I started it though, but I started pointing out to my kids, and we got a kick out of it, was there was always sort of the same kind of parents on these tours, and they really did start to add up and become repetitive after a while. I know you had some as well, but we got a kick out of almost naming them. So one of the first repetitive parents that you'll meet on a college tour is the overdressed mom. There's always that one mom that's got on, like, inappropriate shoes, like high heels, and she's gotten up that early that morning, and she's put on her makeup, and she's done her hair, and she's got these shoes on that are killing her feet, and she's bleeding in her shoes, but she has just overdone it in terms of the dressing. You go on these tours for 2 hours. It's hot.
Like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, and like, did you just come from a wedding? I mean, like, everyone else is in jeans and a t-shirt, just, trying to get through this tour. Like, what did you think was going to happen here that you need to be this dressed up?
Yeah. And also it's hot and you're walking for 2 hours. Did you think those shoes were a good choice? And first of all, no one cares what you look like. I think that's what parents need to get over quickly. It's not about the parents. No one cares what you look like or how cute you are, or how cute your shoes are. Just give it up, put your sneakers on, and follow your child and be quiet. That's what your job is right now.
And then we also talked about the business dad who is just far too busy to give you the whole tour. He's got to step away from the tour to take phone calls 7 to 8 times. I wish I could stay. This is just too important. I got to take this call.
They step just far enough away to pretend being polite, but not far enough away to actually be polite. so you can hear them. You can hear them yelling at their assistant, like, "Stop bothering me while I'm on my college tour trying to spend time with my son." I'm like, "Turn off your phone."
And they put their hand up like, "I've got to take," and like, "Hey, buddy, we don't care about you or your stupid kid or your penny loafers with no socks. All right, just step away and take the call. Our lives will go on."
We'll be fine. I always like the helicopter mom. It could be helicopter dad, but generally it's a mom. This is the woman that has done all of the research before they get on the tour. So she's read every page. She knows where the maps are. She knows, and she also usually has a notebook and writes down stuff during the video. When they pull out the notebook, you're in trouble.
You cannot stay away from this person enough. These are the people you don't like. If they just don't set you up into certain tours, you don't want to be in that woman, because she'll ask a million questions.
I think my favorite one with my youngest son, we were on a tour, and this woman asked, every campus has the blue light, which is like the safety light, and they always say, "There's a phone box at each light. At any time on campus you feel unsafe, you can go to the blue light and make the phone call to security." And this woman wanted to know how far apart the blue light phone boxes were. And, the little tour guide was like, "Well, I'm not exactly sure the exact number of feet, but, I can see the next one from here."
They're all around the campus, lady. Right?
Yeah, you could find. And then she also, you can tell, is a helicopter mom about grades, because she's asking about how she's going to be able to see her kids' grades, and when are grades posted. I'm like, okay, you've already done this in high school. Apparently, stop it. Your child is in college now. You need to stop helicoptering now. And the child, you can always tell, is just done with that parent. They will go to college.
We had a woman that it wasn't about the lights, but she was the tour guide said that security can walk you home. If you're at the library and you're going back to your dorm, they will walk you home. And this woman is standing next to her son. Her son's easily 6'2", probably 230 pounds. And she's like, will they walk him? Like if he wants to walk to his car and go get something to eat, will they walk him to his car? And the kid, the shade of red the kid was turning. I'm just like, yes, Mom, they're going to walk your 230-pound son to the car to go get some fast food.
Good luck, kid. Good luck to you. I always like it. You probably will identify with this more. I like the sports dads that are touring with their kid who's an athlete. I love the sports dads.
And you could be at the University of Georgia or Auburn. There's always a better school they're seeing the next day. We're just here. We're checking this one out. But Johnny's got some letters from these other schools. We're going to go see tomorrow. They can't name drop enough during the tour.
And they've got the Under Armour embroidered vest with whatever their high school travel team. They've got on gear. They've already got gear on.
Whatever you can see has a logo of what school their child is at now. And they also they're loud talkers. Like, when are we going to see the gym? When are we going to see the gym?
No, I mean the gym for the athletes, not the gym for the other.
Yeah. They never want to share the gym. You ever notice that? Yeah. They'll take it to the gym. Like, this is the gym for the students. And is there one just for athletes? And you're like, hey, Sport Billy, why don't you pump the brakes on that? We'll get to there in a minute.
Your kid needs to get away from you quickly. I like the party mom. There's always a party mom. She's always like wearing her daughter's clothes.
Oh, yeah. This is the same mom that has Juicy on her sweatpants at high school pickup or middle school pickup. It's the exact same mom. Now she's just excited that her daughter's going off to college.
And they usually ask questions about, sororities and stuff like that. And I find that that's usually the mom of the whole group that needs to sneak off to go smoke. She's got to have a cigarette at some point during the tour. And she's going to.
Yeah. Or she wants to remind you of their crazy things that they did. They're the ones always elbowing you. Remember those days? Sweetheart, I don't know you.
I don't know you. I don't remember you. I really don't want to remember you. And then there's the more serious parents, like the intellectual parents that are on the other extreme from the party mom, but like the intellectual dad that, probably he was probably a Rhodes Scholar. He probably went to an Ivy League school. So he's like, not even seriously contemplating the school tour that you're on, but their kid just wants to go there. So they're like, well, this isn't Harvard, but we'll look at it,
And they're always asking about the honors, you know what I mean? And can we get accepted right into the honors program? And is there something higher than the honors program? You know what I mean? You just want to put him and the athletic dad. Why don't you two just go tour around? You seem like you're better than all of us, so you go at it.
Go have fun. And I think my favorite parents you see on college tours are two parents with the single child. I know that my husband's schedule and my schedule, we were just never able to go together with our kids. It just didn't work out. It also, it's also kind of nice to have one kid, one parent. You just have a better trip. It's quite honestly a better thing. But I would always.
Yeah, I think one of my kids, me and my wife were going to go. And my second daughter said, no, I don't want to go with two because it's a creepy look. So that's our advice. Only one parent needs to go.
Yeah, because we were at a school down south, and this was one we saw in the parking lot. This one kid gets out of the car with the dad, and we were sitting in the parking lot eating our French fries, and then we see the dad and the son walking towards the admissions office, and we see the mother sprinting after them with a hairbrush in her hand, and she brushed this child's head in the parking lot.
This kid's probably, 18, 19 years old?
I just felt so bad for this boy. So she puts the hairbrush away. But they toured with this kid the whole time, and they stood on either side of him, like three across the whole time. Like normally, sometimes the kids walk in front and the parents are in the back, but this particular parents had to walk on either side of this kid the whole time. Both of the parents asked questions. The poor son said not a peep. And you can just tell that next year when the kid goes off to college, I guess the parents are going to rent an apartment like next to campus because they're not letting it go, whatever is happening next year.
And this is also the kid that will go, absolutely crazy when he gets to school. You know what I mean? An hour after his parents pull out of the parking lot from dropping him off, that's the kid that's going to go crazy.
He is the kid that ends up in the emergency room with alcohol poisoning because they.
Yeah. And if you're still brushing your child's hair at 19, maybe college isn't for them. You know?
So I also think that when you go on these tours, you generally hit the same locations. I think I talked about the dining hall, but I love how they always go to the library. That's one of the things you always go to on a college tour. And I love how every library, the bottom floor is for talking.
Yeah, yes.
As you go up every
this
level,
is the social floor, and then if you want quieter time.
Each level gets quieter and quieter, and you can't talk at all on the top level. And then the tour guide always says, one time I was talking or I had a chip bag and it was too loud and they made me leave. There's whatever happens on the top floor of the library is terrible, because I've certainly never been to the top floor of a library. You don't get to go on the tour.
Yeah, they always that is the major thing. And then they always bring you to a dorm. And they show you a dorm room that looks nothing like an actual dorm room.
Yeah, this is a sample dorm room. We can't show you a real dorm room because they're disgusting.
No one is thrown up in here. And
there's throw up on the real floors of the dorm rooms. And the sample dorm rooms, I love it because they're always like, you can tell they've gone and they've bought a lot of really nice bedding and stuff. And I think we'll talk about on a different podcast about decorating dorm rooms. That's a whole nother discussion. But the dorm rooms on the sample dorm rooms have refrigerators and dust ruffles on the bed, and they're just perfectly clean. Occasionally, I have seen, though, on tours that it's a real dorm room, but the kids get paid if they allow their rooms to be part of the tour. Did you have those?
Yeah, we've had that. And here's the only other thing. As a guy, I feel a little creepy. Sometimes I've gone with my daughters, and they bring you into they bring you to the all-girls dorm, and you're just walking up and down these floors, and there's girls in towels and stuff. Yeah. And like, whose dad is walking around? No. You want to yell, I'm on a tour.
Hanging out with the girls.
But yeah, they will knock on doors, and kids, and then all the parents and the kids parade in some person's room, but they're probably like, hell, I'm getting $50 off on my room and board, so come on in.
Come on in. But there's always, you and I would say, we would like stand out in the hallway and like peek in. But then there's a few parents on those tours that will literally go into that poor child's room and look around. Can I see your bathroom? What do you, it's like, come on.
And they're touching things.
What other things there's always some sort of on every college tour I found is some sort of like a sentimental location that this was where the founding fathers put the first shovel, or where their cow landed, and that's why we have this campus here. There's always some sort of sentimental.
Yeah, they always have some. This is where everyone heads for the after a big game or for a big weekend or something like that. Yeah, there's always something.
Or a superstition where, like, you can't at the University of Georgia, you can't go under the arches if you haven't graduated, or you will become sterile. That is so. And to this day, I mean, I have 3 kids. I would like to go. I should have gone back and forth a lot more.
I was going to say we got to get the Irish running into that arch more.
There's always that superstitious thing, and then at the end of the tour, the little tour guide always, ends the tour with, why they chose this school over all the other schools that didn't accept them, and there's always some, really sad, whatever, this nice story about why they picked that school. And I always like that part of the tour when they end it.
Yeah, and I tell you too, they always show you, either you begin or you end somewhere around the student union, and I would say 90% of the colleges, you just walk around and you're like, how much money are you people making? Because they're gorgeous. The facilities, like, here's over here, and here's a study area, and if you want to lay down over here. One school we were at, they would bring dogs in. And we bring dogs in during finals, so you can pet the dogs. And I'm like, what? Who's paying for the dogs?
You are. You're paying for the dog.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Well, my favorite too is as we are going on these tours, again, it wasn't like when we were in college. The dining halls are better, the food is much better. In down south, there's like, we have a Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A was a big selling point down south. And we have our own Chick-fil-A.
We've looked at they have their own Chick-fil-A, and up here in the Northeast, they always want to tell you if they have a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not like when we were in school. Now there's always one parent. Oh, well, I'd like to go back to college. Oh, I'd like to be on the meal plan. There's every parent on the tour. Yeah, we would all like to go back to college. Yes.
Yeah, and the meal plans are always crazy because I guess now that my oldest is in college, I understand it. But when we would go on the tours, they would talk about the swipes and whatever. Oh, this is the swipes, and you get 3 swipes a day, and then you can go here, and this is all you can eat. But if you go over to that restaurant, it counts as a swipe, and one sandwich counts as 32 points. And if it's 32 points, you get cheese. That's a 34-point swipe. And I'm like, how do you keep track? You know what I mean?
It's just an eating disorder game. How many swipes do I get till I get an eating disorder? I'm going to continue to get it.
And you're looking at all the kids walking around. Looks like plenty of swipes are being used here. There's,
How many swipes did you? Well, I know my kids at the end of the year had money left over in their account, but you don't get money back. So they just went to like the commissary place and came home with a lot of like drinks. We have all
get your money's worth. I remember we were at one school. It was Providence College, and the tour guide was telling us how great their food was. He's like, oh, you go and you swipe, and same thing. They had vegans, and they had a vegetarian section and a fresh salad section, and we had some family friends that went to school there. So after we went on the tour, we went out. We took them out for dinner, and we're sitting there saying, "Hey, what do you guys? You guys like the food?" And they're like, "No, it's awful. It's gross. There's nothing good there. It's brutal." You know what I mean?
Which brings us to the sort of end of the tour, and then so you end the tour, you go with your kids. Sometimes you go have a meal and check out the food. Sometimes you go to the bookstore, check that out. But then there's always that discussion when you get back in the car, or even like later that night when you're back at the hotel room about what you want to engage them and you want to find out what they liked and what they didn't like because you're trying to help them with their college decision. But my feeling was they all started to meld together after a while.
Yeah, especially like you said, if you're flying somewhere to look at 3 or 4 schools, and by like the second day, like the library all looked the same, and like I said, the 5 are the exact same 5 people that we just talked about,
Yeah.
But then you have to sit them down and you go, well, did you like the school? Can you see yourself here? We've traveled down here. We've bought plane tickets. We've rented a car. Did you like the school? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Although my oldest had the opposite reaction. We went to one particular school and we pulled in and he literally put his toe on the asphalt right outside the rental car and went, "I don't like it." It was like an immediate didn't like it. I'm like, we were physically not out of the car.
Yeah, my daughter had the same thing. We went to one school and about halfway through the tour, we kind of held back and she said, "Dad, I'm never going to go here. Can we just bail?" And I was kind of like, I wanted to bail too because I was sick of the tour myself. You know what I mean? But then you feel like you have to walk across campus to get back to your car. I'm like, I don't want to be yelled at, No. So I go, I go, that's fine. Let's just hang in here for the whole thing. So.
So I think what would be great is if we can leave our listeners with a piece of advice, having gone on so many college tours that we have done, and I will say that. I now have 3 college students, 2 college students and about to be a college student. You've got one and one on the way. So I feel like we're pretty expert in this situation. And so I think we should give our biggest piece of what is your biggest piece of advice?
Yeah, I think first of all, with all being said, I did enjoy it, and with so far going through it twice, and we're still involved in it. You know what I mean? It is cool. We both have 3 kids, so you're one-on-one with your child, and you're either traveling or driving to a school. You know what I mean? And so that is nice, and you're walking around and you're looking at things, and it's exciting for them too. It's a step in their life. I think what I've noticed with college tours, but with the whole college thing in general, is some parents and some children get so stressed and wrapped up in it, like this decision. And believe me, it's probably for kids, it's one of the biggest decisions they get to make in their young life. You know what I mean? Pretty much everything's been decided for them up to that point. But some people just like, oh my God, this is gonna. We had some friends of ours that their child was trying to get into Harvard, and I just said to the parents once, I said, oh, well, you never know. I go, and I'm not making this up. This was a week before my Uber driver went to Harvard. You know what I mean? I get in my Uber car. The guy had a sticker, and I said, "Hey man, did you go to Harvard?" He goes, "Yeah, I went to Harvard." You know, I'm like, he goes, "Yeah, I'm doing this on the side, make a little extra money." And I'm like, "So listen, even if you go to Harvard, it's not going to change your life." You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that would be it. Is just make sure that you and your kids don't get stressed out about. And listen, if you are the kind of people that get stressed out about what kind of school your kid's going to go to, I'm sure your kids are going to get just as stressed out. So this podcast is not going to help you.
It's not going to help you at all. This is for real people. I think my biggest piece of advice, again, I have 2 in college and 1 about to be in college. So my college tour days are over, but they're very fresh in my memory. I think the first thing is don't try to do more than 1 tour in a day. We made that error, I think, once, and it's just, you don't enjoy yourself. You want to be relaxed. You want to have fun. You want to connect with your kid. And I do think it's really important to do 1 parent, 1 kid, 1 tour. And, if you go on a trip and you do several days in a row, that's great. Even more fun. You're staying at a hotel, you're having some connection time. Also, keep your sense of humor about you. If you can make a bingo game during all these tours, or maybe you can spot the overdressed mom or the business dad and have a bingo card, or whatever you want, whatever kind of
or ask the tour guide if he likes a cappella and watch him lose his mind when he does. Yeah, you gotta have, and hopefully you're gonna have fun with just like you said, traveling around with your kid. You're gonna have a good time.
And finally, I think everybody needs to know there's a lot of colleges, there's a lot of kids, and if your kid wants to go to college, there's a seat for every fanny. He or she is gonna get in somewhere. So enjoy the tours, don't stress out about it, and really keep your sense of humor. That's it.
Yeah, and I guess and you gotta be in it for the best thing for your kid. It's not to impress your family or your friends, what school they're going to, or how far your child's traveling to go to school, or what honors program. No one cares what program your kid's in. You know what I mean? So do what's best for you, and mostly do what's best for your kid, I would say.
Absolutely.
Well, we would like to hear everyone else's college tour stories. So if you have a great story, or you have a question about going on college tours, we would love to answer them. And you can get in touch with us by going to our Facebook page at Lawn and Disorder. You can go to our website, which is also lawnanddisorder.com.
And our email address is info@lawnanddisorder.com. And we will be back with another episode of Life in Suburbia. And thanks so much for listening. If you're interested in being a sponsor for our podcast, let us know. info@lawnanddisorder.com. Have a great day, and thanks for listening, y'all.
Take it easy.
This has been the Lawn and Disorder podcast from the suburbs with Karen Morgan and Jim Colleton. For more information or sponsorship opportunities, go to lawnanddisorder.com. Come visit us again in the suburbs, where you can still be happy, even though you will never again be cool.